So we started this series last week on 4-letter words, and last week Will Cantrell, I know you really enjoyed him, was here last week and was working on the word self. And he talked a lot about one of the biggest roadblocks to getting sober from whatever your compulsion or struggle in life is, and that is pride. I believe that I know more than what other people know about what's going on with me, and I know better, and I really don't want any help, or I want a limited amount of help. But again, getting sober is really about willing to go to any lengths to be able to experience what Jesus has for me in my life in terms of serenity and sobriety. I'm willing to go to any lengths, and I know the limitations got to go away. And most of us, we fight with our limitations, amen? And that's what that piece was about, is how do we fight with our limitations? And what is it about us that makes us believe that we know better? Why do we have that going on? It's kind of like the stuff in our life that we are not, I'll talk about this more this Sunday, but the stuff in our life that we're not willing to submit is the stuff in our life that actually has control over us. You agree with that? Tonight we're going to talk about something entirely different, another 4-letter word, and that 4-letter word is envy. And envy has to do with an idolatry, putting something above, idolatry has to do with putting something above God. It has to do with an idolatry of absence. Like when I envy someone or I envy something, I begin to go, man, I want to have what he has. I want to achieve like they do. I want to be accomplished like they are. I want to have their money. I want to have their boat. I want to have their house. I want to have the way they look. I want to have the way they talk. It's like the difference of idolatry of absence and admiration is really massive. Like I can admire somebody. I remember when I was a kid, I went to a baseball game, and my dad was involved with this particular team, and so he's like, let's go early, I want you to see something. So I'm like, all right. So my dad takes me to the game in Cincinnati, and the Reds were playing the Pirates, and so this guy, some of you that are older like me, you remember a guy, Roberto Clemente. Anybody ever heard of him? Yeah. Roberto Clemente was just an incredible athlete, an incredible outfielder. And so anyway, my dad says, I want you to watch this. And he goes, you'll never be able to do this, but I want you to see it done. I'm like, all right. So I sit down in the stands, and he's out there warming up, and they wave and stuff. And my dad had set this up before, before we ever got there that day. So anyway, he has him trot out to the center field wall. And he sits down with his back against the center field wall. And he's just playing with the baseball. And then he moves forward about 5 feet from the wall, still sitting completely down with his feet in front of him, takes the ball and throws the thing all the way, straight shot, past second base, one bounce into home plate. My dad goes, you'll never be able to do that. I'm like, you're absolutely right. I was just like, how in the hell did he do that? I could not figure that out. But see, I knew that it wasn't that was something I wanted to do. I just point blank admired it. I couldn't believe it. I've seen people do stuff in sports that I could never do, and I'm like blown away. Well, I'm just admiring them. The big difference in the idolatry of absence is that I would have said, and I say this about stuff in my life, obviously, look, there's something missing in me. There's something missing in me if I cannot achieve that kind of a throw that Roberto Clemente was able to pull off that night. There's something wrong with me. There's something missing. There's something absent. I'm not as good as he is because I can't do that, and that makes me less than, and it puts me in search of whatever that is. Maybe I'm in search of, for if I'm a guy or a woman, I pay attention to the way somebody else looks. I'm like, man, they're a lot better looking than I am. They're a lot smoother when they talk to people than I am. They're a lot more comfortable in groups They're a lot better nurse. They're a lot better doctor. They're a lot better salesperson. They're a better pastor. You know, pastors, the big reckoning for pastors is usually 2 times of the year where all pastors lie to each other because they all have this going on. And it's Christmas Eve and Easter, right? Christmas Eve, you know, so how many people came to your church Christmas Eve? 71,000. How many came to yours? Well, I mean, 84,000. Well, that's the whole city of Knoxville. Those are our 2 churches. Crap. You're gunned up, man, when you're ready for Easter. How many people, you know that guy, how many people? 171,000 people came to my church. What'd you do, start Easter 8 weeks ago and run services every hour? Or how'd you do it? Doesn't matter, because see, I feel like I'm in competition with you over the way your hair is, over the grades that you got. I don't know, you know this fascinating thing. I know this only happened to me, right? But anybody here ever had a problem with a sibling? Ever have an envy of a sibling? They're smarter, they're more accomplished. Your parents remind you of that maybe. Your brother is really something. I mean, he has a beautiful home. He has a nice pool. He has this. You know, your brother took his whole family to Timbuktu for vacation. You took yours to Myrtle Beach. You know, it's like, what's wrong with freaking Myrtle Beach? I mean, but you know how it goes is there's always that sense of incompleteness about I am not really okay. And I'm not okay because of what's missing. And now what's missing is more important to me than what I have. What's missing in my life is more important than what I have. You know, and if it was your mom or dad, maybe they told you something like, which doesn't really change a lot about this emotion, this whole thing, because this goes back to before our birth, you know, but the thing about it is, man, when your mom or dad say, well, you know, Mark, count your blessings, the problem with this whole deal of the idolatry of envy or of absence is I can't. Because what I'm counting is what's not happening for me. I know, I mean, I have a good job and I have a nice car and I'm secure and I'm sober, but I don't have a girlfriend. Or my wife divorced me. Or my husband left me. Or I have a lot of other things going on, but this afternoon I got let go at work because they're downsizing or the company's moving and all I can think about is what I just heard that creates that idolatry of absence. Because see, my life doesn't have any balance in terms of any kind of real gratitude. That's why one of the earliest things that creates the biggest, I think, quagmire for a lot of people when they start hearing anything about recovery is someone's going to ask you this question. All hell's breaking loose in your life, right? This is wrong, this is wrong, this is screwed up. You're this, you're this, you're this, you're this, you're this. You just got your 3rd DUI, and some guy looks at you in a meeting and says, well, listen, man, I want to ask you, like, what are you grateful for? And you're like, what kind of an idiot are you? Did you not hear my story? He heard your story. He's just begun to opt out of this idolatry of absence. You know, what about envy creates a bad ending? Well, what creates a bad ending is the bottomless pit that occurs in us of never being satisfied. The bottomless pit that occurs in us of never experiencing satisfaction. You know, think about that. Think about the emptiness that that's going to bring about in our lives, right? Think about the opportunity you're given the enemy in your life, in my life, to have a freaking field day. You know, you've been married 15 years. And nothing negative has happened in your marriage like that's out of the ordinary. Nobody's slept with anybody else. Nobody's done anything bizarre, right? You've been married 15 years. Everybody's health is good. People, I get these things all the time. People, man, there's something wrong with my marriage. What's the matter with it? Well, it doesn't feel like it's working. Well, it's not working though. See, you're the one that's got to do the work. The marriage doesn't do the work. I know, but things feel different. I mean, I feel like there's something missing. It's like, does she love you? Yeah. You love her? Yeah. So then I ask this question. I go, Is that honest to God not enough right this second, right now? This woman loves you. She's sold out to you. You love her. You know, you have this life together. Things aren't unbelievably just off the chart great, but God, you're there, you are. You're coming home to her tonight. She wants you to be there. She actually is accepting you as you are, knows you 15 years worth of knowing you, 15 years worth of knowing him. Are you telling me you can't be grateful for the fact that she's in your life or that he's in your life? You know he's not perfect. He knows you're not perfect, and you're still there. Isn't there some work that God is doing between the two of you guys that's causing you to still show up for each other? But see, this insidious thing of envy is, I know, but it's not enough. My friends are just having this wonderful marriage. I mean, they're here, they're there, they're going all over the place. They're doing this to their house, and they're over there, and they just have it going on, and they just got a new, and I went to, and they. And now the problem with this whole envy bottomless pit thing is, take note of the fact that what are the ingredients, right? The ingredients are, I am number one in my idolatry of what is missing, not what is there. Are you following me so far? Number two, the problem is that I am in this sick, unhealthy game of comparing myself to everything and everybody around me. To everything and to everybody around me. Envy. The greatest enemies of us alcoholics, addicts, compulsives, codependents, we're going to get there in a minute, are resentment, jealousy, envy, frustration, and fear. Page 145 of the big book. You think that's right? Envy goes like this. You know what? I want it. I see what you have, and man, I want it. Or I'm going to develop a resentment, like our friend Casey was talking about a few weeks ago, that you have it. And I wish to God that you didn't have what you have. Why is that family's life so perfect? Why do they seem to be so, their kids are perfect, they got into the college they wanted to, they got the scholarships, they. And I don't want that to happen to them because it's not happening to me. And it's like when I'm 7 or 8 or 10 or whatever, the phrase I use, and if you're a parent of kids that are this age, or they're 10 even, which 10 they're playing you, just saying, but they will say, "That's not fair! That's not fair, Dad! He got. Listen, do you realize how stuck we are in this spiritually? We say it in a little classier way, but we do this to God all the time. Am I right? All the time. We'll say it like this to God. Well, God, I just don't think what's happening in my life is very fair. I mean, the person that's really screwed me up is right over here, and you're not doing anything to her. And I'm pointing out that, I think by now, I'm entitled to the good stuff. And these other people have the good stuff. I really think, God, I have the good stuff. What you're saying to God is, that's not very fair. It's us, man. I want it, or I wish you didn't have it. Or maybe it's the comparison thing is, of course, I want to be like who? I want to be like Mike. I want to be like John. I want to be like whoever. I want, the hoopla has not really ended. We think we're so much more sophisticated that, oh my God, if there was the new Michael Jordan, he had the hot shot shoe, we would never buy those Nikes. It's like, are you kidding? What do you think? You're going to really hate what I'm about to say. What do you think Pinterest is really all about? It's about me comparing her wedding dress, what she had for dinner, what they had, what movie they went to, the way they created the perfect little Christmas gift for their perfect little freaking friends, and all that. That is exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is. My oldest daughter is not watching this tonight, thank God, so I'm just going to say this point blank. That freaking Pinterest is about to cost me 10 grand because of a wedding. And if you're on it, I think it's demonic and you should get off. That's what I think. I don't know if it's demonic, but it's going to cost me a hell of a lot of money. I'll tell you that right now. Don't send me an email. I don't really don't care. I just don't care. It still makes you want to be like Mike, amen? It just does. I mean, look at how we do things. We're not really very unique. You know, like, we follow each other around in a little herd and look at the way we dress, and we're like, I think I'll buy that shirt. It looks so unique on me. It's like, right, because 18 other people have had it on. You know, you can watch, I mean, I grew up with all girls. I've seen the trends. I remember the years, I hated these years, but I remember the years of Gothic. Everything was a version of black or gray. Gray, black, gray. Gray pants, black top, gray pants, black, gray. Maybe a little white just for the hell of it, but all black, gray. I was so glad when they broke into the freaking color, I couldn't stand it. I mean, how many times can your kid walk down and say, how do I look, Daddy? It's like, you wearing the same thing you wore yesterday. Same color. Everybody looked depressed. The whole high school was walking around in these gray, black. We aren't very unique. We're little puppies. We follow each other around. What's she doing? What's he doing? How's it working for them? Because I want to be like Mike. Absence is what drives envy. And what drives absence, now get this, what drives that feeling of absence in my life and yours is validation. It's validation. It's needing to have somebody tell me you're really okay. And what that says is there's a spiritual emptiness in me, there's a sickness in me that makes me go, I know all that stuff about Jesus. I heard about Jesus dying on a cross for me. I hear about how Jesus loves me. I hear about Jesus telling me I'm priceless in his sight. I see what God gave up for me in the work of Jesus. But you know what? Gotta say that's not enough. It's not enough. I'm not hearing who I am as the beloved of God through Jesus. I need something external, somebody else, something else to validate me. I'm not that good of a talker at a party, you know, so like, what do I do when I go to a party? Well, I mean, I'm going to get a little bit loaded. I'm going to get a little bit high because it loosens me up. It helps me to talk more. I feel more comfortable with myself. It's like, wait a minute, you're not yourself, you're loaded. When I'm living in my compulsion, I'm not myself, I'm my disease. Are you following what I'm saying to you? You are not yourself, you are your disease. It is your disease showing itself to the world. And you're like, if you could put a sign up, which you wouldn't, but in our addiction, in our compulsions, if you could put a sign up where the lights would flash for people, it would really help people out. You know, like in my case, codependent. It would help people know that's why he acts that way. I see. You know, addict. It was like, oh, I see why this happens. But we don't do it that way, right? Because we're looking for some way to deal with the hole in our gut, that validation. You know, it's like this chip that John just got, 21 years. Somebody's sitting in this room tonight, and they're going, 21 years, how in the heck did he get 21 years? Did he really get 21 years? Maybe he didn't tell them the truth. Maybe it's like 11. I don't know. But how did he get 21 years? Here we go. You ready? I don't think I could ever get 21 years. I don't think I'll ever stay sober that long. I don't think I'm ever going to feel okay as a recovering addict or recovering compulsive until I get 21 years. It's like, how about going another way? How about being grateful for one day? Because that's how you get 21 years. 1 day plus 1 day plus 1 day plus 1 day plus 1 day. You know, John Hendricks, correct me if I'm wrong, John, but you didn't get 21 years by going, I'm going to put the next 72 days together and block them out to stay sober, right? 72 days. It was 1 day, right? Maybe it was 1 hour. You know, and we're with him. He helps us put these messages together. We know all about the fact that this deal with ourselves because of who we are is never actually over. We learn the steps and we learn recovery because we want to learn how to live in a free and healthy way. But it takes a lot of work. You know, you look at other people, one of the biggest envies is, well, how do you know, like, I still am amazed. Like, I listen to parents and I'm like, my kid's going to go do this, you know, and it's like, You do realize, right, your kid doing that is a totally insane decision. Yeah. I'm like, so I'm, of course, going to try. I mean, you're not going to say something to her? You're not going to say something to, you're not going to weigh in? Like I would, like I tell my kids, like when I'm about to weigh in, now at least I do say, I'm about to say something that I really want to talk to you about. And I will tell you that it's take it or leave it. But the fact of the matter is, I really think you should take it. That's honest codependent. I think you should freaking take it. Take the advice. I know you're not gonna, but I just want to say out loud that that's the way I really see it right here. Like I'm getting a little bit better by just being able to say that, versus, well, I mean, whatever. This is the way you do it when you're really out of the game. You go, well, whatever. I mean, honey, I really think we should talk about this over here, but like whatever you think is right. No honest codependent actually thinks that. Whatever you think is right. It's just not like that. We sit there with other people that are in the same addiction that we are, and we go, I can't believe that she can drink like that. You ever felt that way? I can't believe she can sit there and drink 2 beers and walk away. I can't believe that person can sit there and eat like this and then walk away. I can't believe they can eat 2 chips. I can't believe they can eat 1 piece of pizza. What are they, stupid? I mean, how do they do that? I can't believe she can. I can't believe he can. He's doing it. She's doing it. But it's like, do you know what it took for them to do that? Do you know that they probably had a bottom? Do you know that they had a reckoning? Do you know that they were as desperate one day as you are right now? Did you know that? Did you know that they're probably doing it one day at a time if they're really doing it? Envy and codependency is I want the life that I think you should have for you. I want the life that I think you should have for you on your behalf. I want you to get sober so that I won't feel, this is how it really goes down. I want you to get sober so that I won't feel like such a failure of a husband, or I won't feel like such a failure as a wife, or I won't feel like such a failure as a mom, or I won't feel like such a failure as a dad, or I won't feel like such a failure as a grandma or a grandpa or whoever. And if you would get sober, it'll make me feel better about the emptiness and the inadequacy of me, and I need you to do that so I can feel validated. Are you seeing how this whole thing works? This envy stuff will really keep us sorry and will really keep us sick. It is a legit soul sickness that we're talking about tonight. Because I always feel inadequate. I mean, if I feel inadequate in my relationship with you and I'm codependent, I'm going to overpress and overfunction with you all over the place. If I feel emptiness inside of me and I'm an addict and alcoholic, I'm going to use. What better trigger is there than to me feel like I'm inadequate? And what do I want to do? Not feel inadequate. What will I do? I'll get loaded. Why? Because then I won't feel that way for a couple hours. But then I will. And then it'll be worse. And the longer I'm chasing you or it or that or somebody, the longer I'm trying to be like somebody else, the longer I'm chasing somebody else's victories, the longer I'm chasing somebody else's accomplishments, the longer I'm chasing somebody else's looks. I mean, if you really think about the whole looks thing, look at the fascination with looks. Look at the 80 billion pictures that were taken today on Facebook. This is me having breakfast. This is me going to the can over here. This is me driving downtown. This is me deciding what I'm going to have for dinner. These are the napkins we're going to use, and this is the hot dog I'm going to eat. Look at how obsessed we are with ourselves and how we look and what we do. No wonder we envy each other. We're like freaking addicted to this stuff of going, well, she had and she went. I know where everybody in Knoxville damn near went on vacation this summer. Sitting here at the beach in Hilton Head, right, with 9,000 other Knoxvillians. Woohoo! I mean, and I'm over here at this place. Well, good for you. But I just want you to know, because I'm here. I mean, look at how we get there. We are so worried about everybody else and how they feel about us, other than the one person in the room tonight, and that would be God, who actually made us and slapped us on the ass and gave us our first breath. And see, God is sitting here tonight going, you want me to tell you what I think of you? And you're like, yeah, everybody else thinks I know what they think of me. I know what I think of me. Why don't you tell me, God? And God's like, I think of you as my son. I think of you as my daughter. I think you're gorgeous. I don't really care. Here's God. I don't really care what the rest of these people think. But see, this whole thing started way back when Adam and Eve thought, after God gave them literally everything, put it all in their hands, it started with them feeling almost immediately incomplete. They thought something was missing. What was missing was their acceptance of what God was already giving them for free in their life. Love, peace, fellowship, encouragement, joy. How much better than that can it get? The Bible says it this way: don't store up treasures here on earth, where moths eat them and rust destroys them, and where thieves break in and steal. That's us, man. Store your treasures in heaven, where moths and rust cannot destroy, and thieves do not break in and steal. Wherever your treasure is, there the desires of your heart will also be. And then it goes on in this chapter. This is why I tell you not to worry about everyday life, whether you have enough food and drink or enough clothes to wear. Isn't life more than food, and your body more than clothing? Look at the birds. They don't plant or harvest or store food in barns or go on Facebook. No, it doesn't say that. For your heavenly Father feeds them. Get that. They are not worried because their heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not more valuable to God than a bird? Can all your worries add a single moment to your life? That's some kind of question. You know, I don't know what you're here for tonight, but I'm here to learn, like I am every week. I mean, one of the things I'm here to learn is how to get comfortable with Mark Beebe as a child of God that God loves in spite of me, that God sacrificed his son for and shed blood for in spite of all the stuff I think is screwed up in me, that I am his child. And man, tonight he's going to show me how, you know.